Hi Mark, this is Daniel, and in this video I'm going to go ahead and review your YouTube channel. First and foremost, I'll go over what you are doing well, and then I'll get into what you can do to improve your channel and your chances of getting your content seen by more viewers. So first and foremost, I think the thing that you're doing the most well out of everything is consistently publishing content. If we look at your videos here, we can see that you've pretty much got a video going up every single day, which is really phenomenal. So if you can continue this pace and combine it with the suggestions that I'm going to make for improvements, you're going to see a lot of growth. Relatively, it's not going to be an overnight thing, of course, but it'll help improve the growth rate of your channel. So aside from that, your videos themselves are fine. The production value and whatnot is fine. So don't worry so much about your videos at all. It's more so the improvements that you need to make and focus on are more to do with kind of the optimization side of things, which I'm sure you probably know. The one suggestion I would maybe make for your channel would be for your YouTube banner, and specifically, I would consider having a banner that features information about your upload schedule. So for example, if you upload one video every day, that should be on your YouTube banner to communicate to viewers when they can expect new content from you. I know it seems like a small, subtle thing that wouldn't have much of an impact, but when people subscribe to channels on YouTube, often they do so because they want to see more content from them. And in order for people to be given more content, a channel has to upload, but also in order for somebody to justify subscribing to a channel for the hopes of getting more content, they have to know when they can actually get it, right? So if I come to a channel and I see on their banner one video each month, I'm going to be less inclined to subscribe to them because what's the point? They barely upload anyway. Whereas if you have one video every single day or new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so on and so forth, whatever it is, if you communicate that on your banner, then it'll have viewers will have an easier time justifying subscribing to your channel. That's really the only thing I would maybe add to your channel banner, and a little subtle thing that may improve the rate of subscribers that you gain on your channel. But yeah, other than that, like I said, your upload frequency is good. Just make that small adjustment to your banner. Your videos themselves are fine. And yeah, so let's get into the improvements and what you can do to improve your channel. So there are a few main areas that I would be focusing on if I were you, and that is your video search engine optimization, or video SEO, and your thumbnails. First things first, I'm going to go over the video SEO side of things. So I kind of touched on this in the Q&A video that I sent your way prior to this video with regards to finding keywords. It's quite simple. All you really need to do to find keywords is just utilize YouTube auto-suggest. As you type in different words and different phrases, then different suggestions come up, and these are all things that people are searching for, and these are all keywords. I use the terms topic and keywords relatively interchangeably when talking about this step of the video SEO process, but if I say keyword or topic, just when we're researching topics or researching keywords, it's the same thing. So this is basically how you go about finding keywords, right? You just utilize YouTube auto-suggest. Now, you can also use Google. You can also use Google search if you, for example, are searching for a particular topic or something to do with a particular topic and nothing is coming up on YouTube, then you can go to Google, and if something comes up on Google, then you can use that, because obviously people's behavior with regards to how they search for things, it's going to be very similar on Google and YouTube. So that's just something to note. Say a player's traded or something. but nobody had searched for, player name traded, player name trade before. If you go to Google, and there may be something on there, because the results, the suggestions can sometimes update faster on one or the other. So that's just something to look into. And also, along the same lines, this is something that's important for you in particular, because you post videos on topics that are very fresh, which is good, obviously. But for example, if we're talking about, Evander Kane being signed by Edmonton, you may have a video that you want to post about that topic, because it's obviously a very popular topic, but maybe nothing came up, or signed, I should say. Say you wanted to make a video about Evander Kane being signed by Edmonton. If you are making a video right after it happened, right after the signing was announced, for example, there probably won't be any suggestions. So what can you do in that circumstance? Well, what you can do is you can use the name of a player that was recently signed, a different player, and swap out their name for, in this example, Evander Kane. So, I don't know, let's say Marner signing. So there's not even really anything for Marner. Anyway, basically all you would really need to do is find search suggestions to do with the topic of a signing for another player, and then swap in the player who you're talking about, who just got signed, Evander Kane, for that other player. So, for example, if it was just, I don't know, sign. All right, say you had a video for, I don't know, Malkin signing. Malkin signed a fresh contract, for example, and you want to make a video about it. But when you search for it, nothing shows up. All you would do is you would type in the name of a player who recently signed a contract and look at their suggestions, and then swap out Crosby for and give the Malkin signing, and so on and so forth, right? You can do the same thing with Google. And that's how you find up-to-date terms, right? So yeah. So you would just look, type in the name of a player who was recently signed, swap it out with the player who you're talking about, and basically what you're doing when you do this, when you swap out names with different keywords, is you're basically emulating what the audience's behavior is going to be anyway. So, for example, if somebody typed in Sidney Crosby signed, chances are they've typed in Austin Matthews signed, if Matthews signed a contract, or insert player here signed, right? The viewer behavior is going to be the exact same. They're going to type in similar things. So for really recent signings, for example, or trades, that's all you need to do when there's nothing that shows up on YouTube or Google. Yeah. So, for example, if you were to make a video talking about whether or not Connor McDavid is going to be traded or request a trade or anything, you would include all these keywords in here. But say you were wanting to talk about, Leon Draisaitl, maybe he'll be getting traded somewhere for some reason. What you would do is you would just swap in Leon Draisaitl trade, Leon Draisaitl trade rumors, Leon Draisaitl trade request. Those would be keywords, and odds are people are going to search for them because they've searched for them for other players, right? The behavior is going to be the same. So that's something I really want you to keep in mind with regards to when you are creating videos on up-to-date or recently occurring events, because that's part of what you do, obviously, is you may have to kind of get creative with your keyword research, and you may have to essentially create keywords that are likely to exist very shortly based on past viewer behavior. I hope that makes sense. Basically, it's the process that I just laid out for you. That's going to go a long way with helping you craft titles, descriptions, and tags kind of for real-time fresh topics, because typically what I would suggest people do is just go through and create videos on topics like this that are already being suggested by YouTube, right? Because people have shown interest in them in the past. But I recognize that, for example, if you go to reddit.com/rsshockey, you know, if you're looking and gathering up-to-date topics and news from reddit.com/rsshockey or, I don't know, TSN, right? TSN.ca, for example. Odds are, because these are all up-to-date news stories or topics, there's not going to be any existing search suggestions at the time that you're creating the video. So you just have to get a little bit creative with creating essentially keywords, but really all you're doing is just swapping out names for past events, right? Like if you were to come here and you were going to talk about this comment by Gallagher, and my computer's being a little slow here on this website. Gallagher, the one thing you can never lose is your culture. I actually don't know the context of that, so excuse me if that's something that's a little bit different regarding, not the hockey team, if you will. But, if you were to make a video on this, there's not going to be any... This article was probably just released 2 minutes ago. So there's not going to be anything here... And I spelt his name wrong, but... So there's not going to be anything here, like, nothing's getting suggested here. But you would find another event where some player talked about this particular topic, and you would just sub in Gallagher's name. So, you'll have to get a little bit unique, because as I was saying, typically what I would do is suggest to people that they just create videos on, all these different search suggestions, right? So you would create a video on why Sidney Crosby is the best, for example, right? And you would do that because it's suggested here. It's a proven topic because people are searching for it, which is proven by it being suggested. But you create content that's more news, in the news realm, and more fresh. So you have to get a little bit unique with your keyword research, but overall, once you do it a few times, it'll become much easier. So that's a big part of the video SEO process, because when you optimize your videos, basically what you're doing is you're inputting keywords into the title, the description, and the tags. YouTube then scans the title, description, and the tags for your videos for information for different keywords. And that's how they determine what your video is about. They don't watch them. They just scan the metadata in search of keywords. So that's why it's very important to know how to find keywords using YouTube Autosuggest, but also knowing how to create them, because a lot of your keywords, if you're talking about something that's really fresh and new, they probably aren't going to exist. With that said, if you create a video on a topic that's a day or two old, then there's probably going to be, search suggestions, right? I used this example before in the previous video, but Leon Draisaitl's interview, for example. If you were to make that the night of that happened, there wouldn't have been any Leon Draisaitl, Jim Matheson, Leon Draisaitl interview terms. Now there are, because it's been a little while since that happened, but that's just something to keep in mind. So I think what we'll do is I will go through and I will show you the video SEO process in real time here. So let's say we're optimizing this video here, this Oilers Leon Draisaitl one that you uploaded 9 days ago. Let's say that we were optimizing this video here. How would I go about optimizing this video? Well, the first step in the optimization process is obviously to determine the topic of the video. We know that you're talking about in this video, or this clip or this highlight is about the Leon Draisaitl interview. So I would type in his name, and then since it's a trending event, we're already getting search suggestions to do with that event. So all I would do at this stage would be I would gather these keywords that are all related to the topic at hand. So there's that, and then what we could do is go a level deeper, and we go interview space. Yeah, okay. So we have these, and you'll notice that I'm listing these out in a fashion that I would do for video tags. This is just to save time, that it just comes naturally to me, but you can do it in a list form if you want as well. It doesn't matter. I'm just doing it like this to make things a little bit more efficient. Angry, you know, that's a potential thing that somebody would type in search of this particular topic, right? Because that's all you're really doing here is telling YouTube about your video, and you know, these are all things that somebody might type in if they were in search of a video on your topic, basically. So we'll have reaction. And when you search for keywords like this, they need to be hyper-relevant. So you wouldn't have, you know, Connor McDavid interview, Sidney Crosby interview, NHL player interview. You wouldn't have that. You're talking about Leon Draisaitl for this interview. So everything needs to reflect that. Your keyword selection, it needs to be dialed in like that. That's a big mistake a lot of people make, is they just generalists. These are the most popular topics in my niche. These are the most popular players, so I'll just include them. I'll use them as tags. I'll put them in my description. You don't want to do that because they aren't relevant to the video at hand. So everything, all the keywords that you select and find need to be hyper-relevant to the video at hand. So, I get that one? Yeah. Reaction, mad. And this is just the keyword research process. You're just gathering up all of the keywords that are related to the topic at hand. And you need to find keywords first because they're going to dictate how you title your video. And it'll make it easier for creating a description. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So YouTube will allow you, I believe, 500 characters for tags. You don't have to maximize them. Again, like I was just saying, your tags need to be hyper-relevant, and your keywords need to be hyper-relevant, so don't include just random keywords just to use up 500 characters. Just go until you can't find any more that are relevant. Now, I think what I may do is, so we've gotten a lot of keywords based on these search suggestions there. I think what I might do is go Jim Matheson. You can see it right here. Jim Matheson, Leon Draisaitl. There's that there. That's another relevant keyword. Interview. There. There. All right. So there are all of our keywords that are relevant to this particular topic at hand. Now you have something to work off of. And that's how you go about doing it. Just you utilize YouTube Auto Suggest. You can use Google, and you also will sometimes have to create your own keywords, but you do that basically by finding an event or a topic that's similar to the one that you're talking about. For example, if another player was traded, like I just went over with you, and then just sub out names, and then those will be your keywords. So now we need to craft your title. When you craft your titles, you need to obviously make sure that they're clickable to humans. You don't just want to make a title like Jim Matheson, Leon Draisaitl, interview mad, 2020, January, you know, just gibberish. You want your titles to be clickable, and for them to be clickable, one of the things they need to be is readable. So you're going to use these keywords to direct your title, how you make it, but it's got to also be readable and clickable. So one of the things you want to kind of try and do is include as many keywords that you discovered as possible, but in a way that still makes the title clickable. So something that you could do is, let's say we have this here, because this is kind of like the main keyword, right? And typically the keywords that are suggested at the top of the auto suggestions are typically the most popular. So, you know, Leon Draisaitl interview, that's the most popular keyword because it's at the top of all these lists. So that's what we'll include that as kind of our primary keyword. But so that'll be the base for our title. And then what we'll do is we'll just kind of look through the different keywords here and see how we can kind of construct a title based on the different keywords that people are typing in. So Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson. And then you can do, let's see, January 2022 in brackets. And then you're not obviously posting the interview, you're posting your reaction to it basically and your thoughts on it. So we can see here somebody typed in Leon Draisaitl interview reaction. So you can include the word reaction. And what I would maybe do, you can either include it, at the end here, Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson reaction, and then January 2022, and that's to indicate that it is in fact the interview that is in question, right? What you can do in an instance like this would be, you could have a title like this, and then he got, or actually, See, here's basically what you're trying to do is just sub in different parts of keywords and different keywords into the title so they all kind of get in there in a natural manner. Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson reaction. How many? 66. And then you could do this. How many words is that? Okay, so here's a potential title here that you could use. You could have this as your title, and I'll tell you why this would make for a well-optimized title in a minute, although you're probably already guessing why it is the case. Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson reaction. Why are you so pissed, right? Because that's the comment, and then January 2022. So, as you can see, if you scan this title, you'll notice that a lot of these, Leon Draisaitl interview, Jim Matheson reaction, the comment, the date, you'll notice that these items in the title that we've constructed are all parts or are keywords that we discovered earlier. So basically, what we did was we included relevant information that people are searching for that is related to the topic at hand in the title of the video. So then YouTube's algorithm, when it looks at the title of your video, it's going to have a much easier time saying, hey, this video must be about the Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson. It must be a reaction. It was from January 2022, so that's the right interview. And this is a comment that was said in the interview that really, blew it up, if you will. So that's a well-optimized title because it includes keywords and parts of keywords that we discovered through the keyword research process. These are all proven because they were auto-suggested, right? So that is how you could go about crafting a title. You find the keywords and then you essentially sub in or construct a title containing these keywords that is natural, obviously. So there's your title. Descriptions are, side note. Okay, so title and then tags, literally all you would do for tags is just copy this. That's why I put all those keywords that were researched in this list form, if you will, is because you could just copy and paste this as a tags section for this video. Descriptions are relatively simple. Basically, what you would want to do is, if we click on your video here, and I believe I mentioned this in the prior video I made for you, the Q&A video. So, yeah, basically, again, this will be gone, right? All of these here, that'll be gone. These will all be gone. This can stay. That's kind of relevant. And then all your links can stay. Yeah, that's all fine. Basically, the biggest thing you need to do, let me just do this here. So, how I would format the description is like this. So basically what I do is I just copy and paste the title into the top line of the description. Then underneath it, I'll have the main call to action. So for this instance, it would be watch the full segment here. So I'll have that underneath the title, and then in the description, this is where I'll have my information paragraph. So recently, and I apologize for the keyboard, recently, Leon Dry. So let's see. recently in January of Leon Draisaitl had a heated interview with Jim Matheson. What made Draisaitl, I think I spelled his name wrong over there. Okay. We'll just do this. This will be easier. Because his name is hard to spell. What made Draisaitl angry was Matheson's now infamous comment. Why are you so pissy? And I believe he went like this. In this video, in this segment from reaction to this interview. There. So, much like with the title and the way we constructed the title for the video, you'll notice that when I wrote up this blurb, this paragraph describing the video at hand, I made sure to include keywords that we found earlier and keywords that were in the video title in the video description in the form of a paragraph. You wouldn't want to just list these out because that's against YouTube's terms of service. So you need to include the keywords, the primary main keywords, in a paragraph in the description, which is what I just did. Recently in January 2022, see January 2022, Leon Draisaitl had a heated interview, Leon Draisaitl interview with Jim Matheson, Leon Draisaitl interview, Jim Matheson, right? Those are all different keywords. You'll see different parts of these keywords that we researched up here in this paragraph. What made Draisaitl angry was Matheson's now infamous comment, "Why are you so pissy, Elon?" So why are you so pissy? Why are you so pissy? In this segment from Big Apple Hockey, or whatever your podcast is officially called, you'll get our reaction, right? Reaction was another part of the keyword to this interview. So that's what you want to do for every video description as well, is you need to write up a paragraph containing the different keywords and the different parts of keywords that you discovered that were also included in your title. Underneath that, you can pretty much add in some of these right here. And let's see. These are fine. You can add those in as well. And you could probably even add them in above the call to action. So there you go. So this is basically, in a nutshell, how I would probably format the description for your videos. You have the title in the top line, the main call to action. So in this case, the main call to action is to watch the full segment. You have your paragraph describing the topic at hand, the video containing different keywords that were found earlier. Then you can have your chapters if you have that or not, and then other call to action links, so links to your Facebook account and group and your podcast page on iTunes and Spotify, and then, again, Facebook. That probably doesn't need to be in there twice. So you have Instagram, Twitter, and then some guests, it looks like. So that's pretty much how I'd format your description. I think maybe one thing I would do is if you are going to use hashtags, let's see, dry, nothing comes up. Okay, so NHL hockey. Yeah, so, I mean, technically you could just add in some hashtags if you wanted to kind of break up the description. Hashtag hockey news, right? And you'd add 3 of them. You don't need to add any more than this. Hashtag Edmonton. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So that's how I would lay out your description. And that's pretty much it for the video SEO process. Find your keywords, craft a title using those keywords, use those keywords as tags, and then make sure you craft a description that includes a unique paragraph containing the keywords that were also contained in the video title. That's how you want to go about optimizing your videos, going through this process for every video. Now, in the case of the full podcast episode, basically what you would do is the exact same process, but you would include just kind of like Leon Draisaitl interview, Evander Kane signing, and more, and then the title of your podcast, and then the episode. That would be the title. Same thing, same kind of description, and that's the video SEO process that you need to use. If you do this as you repeat it, the process over and over and over for multiple videos, what will happen is more of your videos will get ranked in the search results for different keywords, and then you will gain more views that way. And then also YouTube will have a much easier time determining the subject matter of your videos, because if we look at the title of this one here, Oilers Leon Draisaitl called pissy Flyers fans blow it up. It seems like an engaging title, right? But it's not very well optimized because YouTube doesn't know what the heck this is really about. Because there are no real keywords related to the main topic of the video in this title, whereas in this title that we've constructed, the keywords that are related to this particular topic are everywhere in the title, right? Leon Draisaitl interview, Jim Matheson reaction, the comment, the date, just much more optimized, and that's what you need to do for every video. So, yeah, that's the video SEO process. And then what I'm going to do for your thumbnail recommendations, because that's the other thing I would recommend looking into, is adjusting your thumbnails. It's not that your current ones are bad or anything, but there's some things that you can do to improve your thumbnails quite a bit. And basically, what I'll do is, what I'm going to do is create a thumbnail for you for this video, and I'm going to include it as an attachment on Upwork. I'm not going to make it in real time here, but basically your thumbnail, it doesn't have to necessarily look a certain way. It just has to contain elements. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, when people are scrolling through YouTube, what your thumbnail is meant to do is to attract their attention. Now, a lot of people go about doing this the wrong way. When you do this, when you design your thumbnails, even though your job is to attract attention using the thumbnail, you still need to make sure that they obviously represent the subject matter of your video. So basically what you need to ensure is that your thumbnails essentially pique people's curiosity. That's really all there is to it with thumbnails, is you just need to design a thumbnail that piques people's curiosity. So this one overall, it does contain a lot of the elements that I would recommend, and you'll notice that when I redesign it. But that's really what you need to try and do when you design your thumbnails, just plain and simple. Make sure they elicit kind of a curious response. Like when viewers are scrolling through YouTube and they see your thumbnail, you want them to kind of think, whoa, what's going on there? What's that video about? Why is Leon Draisaitl look so angry in this interview? Because basically what happens is typically, I should say, viewers, they'll look at the thumbnail and then they'll look at the title and then they'll click on the video if the thumbnail and the title kind of match their expectations and their interest for a particular topic. So your thumbnail grabs the attention, the title kind of tells them what the video is about, and then they click if they want to watch, right? But the thumbnail, as I've said, just like 9,000 times already, is it needs to invoke feelings of curiosity. And you do that by taking images that, are kind of eye-catching and interesting. Like you would have this image of Leon Draisaitl here where he's in an interview and he's looking kind of mad. What's up with that, right? Or, you would have, what's another example? If you were talking about how Edmonton was really struggling, you could have a picture of Connor McDavid looking completely miserable as your thumbnail, right? Because that's something like, oh gosh, is McDavid getting mad, right? It's very curiosity driven. So that's just as a simplified version of what you want to do That's really what your thumbnails just need to do, is try and get viewers, when they look at your thumbnails, to have a reaction of curiosity. That's what you really need to do. So contrast that with some of your current thumbnails, and you can kind of see how, so this one's good. And actually, the video did quite well. How frustrated is Connor McDavid, and could he want out? And look at the thumbnail here. Look at how frustrated McDavid looks, right? So that's the type of thumbnail. You have the facial expression of an individual, of the player that you're talking about. The person has to put forth a feeling of curiosity, right? And unfortunately, people, obviously, they like negative stories, basically. So anytime you can kind of invoke that feeling of, hey, is this guy something negative? Is he mad? Is he angry? Right? Something like that. Anytime you can do that, you should in your thumbnails. And the best way to do that is by facial expressions, because, just pictures of on-ice play, like, they don't really show a lot. The only time I would really recommend using a picture of an on-ice play would be, if you're talking about a big hit or something, then you would have a picture of, unfortunately, the aftermath of the hits or the hit taking place, right? Not just a picture of a random event in the game. So, again, like I said, I'm going to include an example of how I would design a thumbnail for this video, and I'll do it for a more kind of generic type of video as well. Like, I'll do it for this Henrik Lundqvist jersey retirement or video as well. I'll make a thumbnail for you, example for that. And I will do one for the Final Buzzer series here as well. Is that just a Rangers? No. Oh, yeah, the Final Buzzer. Is that a Rangers exclusive? I think it is. Yeah, so I'll design an example thumbnail for the Final Buzzer series that you have as well. So that was a lot. This has been a long video. That's why I didn't take you through the design process of the thumbnail in real time. But again, for the thumbnails, just make viewers curious when they see your thumbnail. Keep them relevant to the video at hand. But again, you want viewers to be curious. And you'll notice that I do that when I design these example thumbnails and send them your way. And I think they'll give you kind of all you need. You won't really need an explanation as to why I designed the thumbnails in the way that I did. You'll just look at them and say, oh yeah, I can see how people would kind of have a sense or a feeling of curiosity when they see that in relation to the title. So yeah, I'll include those thumbnail examples for you. You now know how to go about the video SEO process. If you combine the video SEO process that I showed you with the types of thumbnails that I'm going to show you as examples, and combine that with your consistency and your upload frequency, you'll be well on your way. Obviously, it won't happen overnight, but things will move faster, grow quicker, but the foundation that you'll build your channel upon will be much stronger, which will ensure more future growth. So, as I said, this has been a long video, so let me know if you have any questions about anything that I have said, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching this video, Mark, and I will see you later.